Candy Tangerine Man is on Blu-ray.
Right.
Candy Tangerine Man is something that I guess you moved a lot of those back in the day. I don't get it.
And I met my man. We used to call him the Black Hulk.
John Daniels.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why? Why we call him the Black Hulk?
Yeah, bad shag.
No, because he looked like the actor.
Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno.
See,
Yeah.
you know, he's probably still living. He's going to hear this. So, Candy Tangerine Man. So, all right. So, I've had copies of this forever, but they've been so poor. Like the VHS that Unicorn put out, you could barely see what was going on. It was so dark and grainy. Vinegar Syndrome has completely restored this movie. A 2K scan from one of the best remaining release prints. The negative has been lost. The lab went out of business, and the negative can't be recovered. So this is basically not tremendously worn, but a release print, and it's been restored pretty good.
You know, I ain't asking you to choose me, because that's got to be your own decision. But I tell you one thing. None of my ladies are anything but totally contented.
The Black Baron. What you gonna do, honey? Make me a queen?
Only God and the crown can do that. But I tell you something. I will make you happy, wealthy, and wise.
So John Daniels, who actually was a nightclub owner, partners with Jim Brown in a club called Maverick's Flat, which is legendary club in Los Angeles. It's like where everybody was hanging out back in the 70s. So he ran the club, and then he suddenly got the idea that he wanted to act. And so Candy Tangerine Man was one of the movies he was in. I mean, what are some other John Daniels starring roles?
Well, what's that one where he's the disc jockey?
Well, yeah, Getting Over.
Getting Over.
And then Black Shampoo, of course. Which
and then he did one where he was in a supporting role, I believe with Gloria Hendry.
So this guy, another sense of audacity.
He had a small part in another film, Heat, Black Heat.
Black Heat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he he's a local player in LA, and he's starred in this movie. So the Candy Tangerine. So if you wonder what the title comes from, it's from his Rolls Royce, which is two-tone Rolls Royce that he drives around Los Angeles on the Strip, collecting his money from his hoes, and it's candy apple red and tangerine orange. Those are the two tones.
Holy shit! I want that son of a bitch.
Here's something interesting. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, so basically, so he is a pimp by night, and then on the weekends, he is a suburban father, married and living in a white community. And so that's the gimmick. But there's way more pimpery than there is. I mean, you want to think Tony Soprano, there's way more pimpery than there is.
The actress who plays his wife in that.
There is a nice sex scene with the woman who plays his wife, who is...
Well, that was kind of toned down, especially for Marilyn Joy.
Okay.
But the thing is, anecdotally, I wanted to tell you there's a piece of history in this film. Mm-hmm. One of the actresses featured in the movie, guess who it is? She was at one time married to Richard Pryor. She's the one whom Richard Pryor came home and found her in bed, and when he has the incident where he shoots up the car.
Shoots the car, okay.
She's in that film.
Look for her.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Candy Tangerine Man, this movie has a huge cult following. I'm not sure why. Because there are way better pimp movies. I'm sorry. The Mac is my number one pimp movie. We should do a pimp movie thing. But this thing, I mean, this guy has no charisma.
Who has no charisma?
John Daniels.
And you just told me, be careful, he may still be alive when I call him the Black Hulk?
I'm being critical. I'm not talking about his personal attributes. I'm talking about the actual film itself. Yeah, so I just didn't get it. I mean, I waited for a long time to see this movie, and I was expecting something a little more. I mean, the premise is very intriguing, but they don't do anything with it. And then the caper is pretty generic. It's basically, folks are trying to get the Baron out of business. His hoes leave him, and then he's got to track down who's trying to take him down. And there's like a little turncoat thing that happens. And it's extremely violent. I mean, the way, like, he's beating up women, he's shooting people and stuff. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, what's the appeal is in general?
Well, I think what the appeal was for those films was, back in the day, one of the most popular enjoyments for the brothers and sisters, especially the brothers, were the Donald Goines books. Okay? And that was one of the hopes we had with blaxploitation, that, oh man, finally, maybe they'll take some of these Goines books and put them on screen. And that may very well happen. We'll get into the next segment, but just seeing that trickster life, that underground life, was fascinating for a lot of. And then, when you talk about pimp movies, the allure that Ron O'Neal had, as Superfly. And this guy, yeah, you're right. As far as charisma is concerned, there was something about him that was kind of sort of like cool because Black Shampoo.
That was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. But the other thing is.
I mean, people should see Black Shampoo before they see this one, in my opinion.
But
that was a rip-off of Shampoo. But same idea.
The guilty pleasure was the seeing that world, and then the sexuality. That was fascinating for, especially the fellas.
So this is not one of your classics either?
I liked it back then, but it's not one of the better ones.
Okay, well, it is on Blu-ray, and there's it's paired with Lady Coco. So, basically for your money, you get two movies that have not ever been on Blu-ray before for the price of one, which is cool.
A year and a half without even committing a crime.
Lady Coco, where have you been? Come out and meet the people. Welcome back to the game of life called Pop Goes the Weasel.
Lady Coco, also directed by Matt Cimber, starring Lola Falana and Mean Joe Green. Any thoughts on that one? Or?
Well, once again, guilty pleasure. Anytime I had the opportunity to see my girl, dark chocolate, sweet, beautiful Lola, and now to see her in a better light, because there weren't really great prints of it around, and so getting to see it close to the way we saw it on screen. Gene Washington, who plays the lead role, I thought, wow, he was very handsome, good-looking guy, former football player.
What's that?
This is Officer Douglas Fuller of the Carson City Police Department. Now, he'll make sure that you show up at the hearing tomorrow. And when we get to the hotel, you two will register as husband and wife.
He was part of Matt Cimber's The Black Six. I thought he was someone who could have gone further. But once again, Lady Coco wasn't bad in terms of having some dramatic elements, a little mystery, like what's really going on. It's low budget, but it was entertaining.
Okay, well, and it was remade with Pia Zadora like 2 years later, same exact plot. But but that's the genius of low budget filmmaking. And that the Lady Coco actually has a running commentary track with Matt Cimber, who I guess is in his 80s now.
Wow.
So this is kind of more bare bones than the Dolomites. But I mean, if you're a completist, I would recommend grabbing those now, because you never know, especially in this era, how long things are going to stay in the market. And then I believe the Black Six is available from another label if you're interested in that one. That's an interesting action film. They took 6 NFL players and put them in a movie and God knows what happens after that. It's just a melange of action and bad acting, in my opinion. But
The interesting thing about Black Six, if you remember Shaft's big score, one of the actresses who played one of his girlfriends was Rosalind Miles.
okay,
And when we first saw her, we said, wow, if anyone looked ideal for the part of Martin Luther King's wife,
oh, correct.
Coretta, Rosalind Miles would have fit the bill.
So, so check those out and shout out. Thank you, Vinegar Syndrome, for sending those for us to preview. And you know, it's big news.
White folks love Bill Cosby so much. They had commercials, man, where little white children was riding his back eating tapioca out of his eardrums. Daddy Bill. And so, how do they kill my son and I can't get a commercial?
For me, I feel that what Sidney was allowed to do in the Heat of the Night was the start of blaxploitation.